Hello, this is going to be a guide on how to set up Joiplay. Joyplay. Honestly, I only heard of this app yesterday. I'm not really sure what it is. All I know is that it allows you to play some Pokemon fan games. And I've had a couple of people ask about it, so I thought I'd do a little bit of investigation and try and figure out one, what it was, and then two, how to install it and get it running. So, firstly, one thing I do want to say is when I was looking into this, I did notice there was quite a lot of fake links or people reporting certain dodgy websites. So please, 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 I'll be using Pokemon Infinite Fusion. Make sure you get it from either the official subreddit or the official Discord. Please don't click on any dodgy links lest you put your device at risk. So, having said that, the first thing we're going to do is head over to Chrome, and this is the Patreon. So, this is where we're going to download. I'm going to call it Joy Play. I'm probably wrong. So this is at time of recording. This isn't the most recent update. There was an update that dropped about 3 or 4 days ago. However, that's currently locked behind their Patreon paywall. And as someone who has no idea what this is, I am not a patron. But if you are, just get the latest version that's available to you. So if you scroll down, so the things we're going to need. Firstly, we're going to need this Joyplay 1.20.611. So I'm just going to use the direct download for that. And then also we're going to need the RPG Maker plugin, and we'll get the direct download for that. Only small files, so they won't take too long. Once that's done, you're going to need to download your game of choice. Like I said, in this example, I'll be using Pokemon Infinite Fusion. I'll leave a link to the safe subreddit for that, where you can download that. Or if you have your preferred fan game, then this should hopefully work for you as well. So you're now going to need a file browser which extracts files. So I'm using Solid Explorer, which you can get off the Google Play Store. So it's nice and simple. It's just a file explorer. So the first thing we're going to do is, I've already done it here to save us a little bit of time, but this Infinite Fusion Android.zip, this is the zip folder. So within Solid Explorer, you're just going to press and hold, tap the three little dots in the bottom right corner, and then tap extract. And what that'll do is it'll undo the zip folder and then make sure all the files are accessible by the app. Once that's done, you'll have a folder like this, and we'll have all these folders and all these lovely files. So you can delete the zip file if you want to. I kept it here just to show you, so I'll delete that now. I no longer need it. The first thing, the next thing we're going to do is this one that it kind of looks like a, oh, is that a chameleon, I think? I'm a Gen 1 kid. I don't know any of these newfangled Pokemons. So we're going to tap that, the darker logo. We'll tap that. We're going to install it. We're going to hit done. And then we're going to tap the green one. This is the RPG Maker plugin. And then we're going to install that as well. Okie dokie. So now we're going to go to Joyplay. You'll get this little introductory slideshow. So read through these in your leisure. Make sure you accept the terms and conditions and the privacy policy. And then it's going to ask for some permissions. So I have tested this. It is safe. So we're just going to allow those, allow notifications, and then it's going to ask for file permissions. We're going to make sure we allow those, allow that. This is just so it can actually see the files on the device. Little notice there about the Patreon and licensing, things like that. So I'm just going to tap off that. Then I'm going to come up to this top right here and press the plus button. I'm going to click Add Game. It's going to tell you what file you're looking for. I'm going to hit choose. And now my game is just in my downloads folder. Feel free to move it wherever you'd like, somewhere if you want it slightly more organized. But for this example, it's just going to be in the download folder. There it is, Infinite Fusion Android. And then I'm going to scroll down. I'm looking for game.exe. I'm going to choose that one. I'm going to ask you to give the game a name. So I'm just going to call it Pokemon Infinite Fusion. And tap done. Tap next. It's going to ask you for a version number. Now, according to the documentation for this, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to put version 1. If you're a stickler for versioning, you can name it the exact version. But for this example, I'm just going to call it version 1. Click next. It should automatically detect an icon. There might be multiple in there. Again, this app is brand new to me. I did a quick demo before, I got it working. I don't really know what this game is, so I'll probably have a play around with it in my free time and see how far I get. So we've got this little icon there we go. So now what we want to do is, before we launch the game, we need to map the controller. Now, I've tried to look online for an ideal controller mapping and haven't really found any, because normally this would be played on a PC where it would rely on the keyboard. There is a touchscreen controller, however, you've got a built-in one, you might as well use that. So the controls, I'm going to set up just a couple of inputs. Feel free to play around, or if you let me know in the comments if there's any specific controller mappings that are more suitable, I can revisit them at a later time. But for now, it's going to be very simple. So I'm going to press and hold on the game itself, and then you'll get this little pop-up window. I'm going to scroll down to remap controller buttons. So you can see here, so my A button is mapped to C, which according to this dialog is cancel, which I don't want, so I'm going to change that to X. Oh, hang on, I've confused myself here. So X is cancel, so I've mapped that to B, and then for A, I've mapped to C. So all you need to do is tap the relevant button and then select it from here. It's not the most intuitive button mapping, it's very manual. And then for the it says button C, it's Y. The mapping won't be the best, I apologise. It's very confusing, and I've even in the official subreddits, no one seems to know the answer. So what we're going to do is open it up. You're going to get this little pop-up just to say, yep, we've extracted it, we've installed it, okay. You're going to tap it again. It's going to check plugins. Sometimes it might ask you for some additional file permissions, in which case you need to enable it, then go back, and then just tap it for a third time, and it should work. So here we are. So you can see when I'm pressing the arrow keys, for some reason the arrow keys mapped automatically. It was just the face buttons that didn't. So I can tap this controller in the top right just to hide the touchscreen controller. Obviously, you can play around with the mappings from here with those Enter, Escape, Z, and B keys. So I'm gonna, there we go. Load this up. Do I have any volume on it? A little bit of volume. So yeah, it's booted. The first time I did this, I did get an error when I tried to start the game. If that happens, just make sure you've got the most up-to-date versions of Joiplay and the RPG Maker plugin. I'll just start a new game. There we go. So it's going to ask you as well where you got the game from. So make sure you get it from the Discord, the subreddit, or the poker community thread. If you've found a website that says, oh, Pokemon Infinite Fusion, it's not legitimate, please avoid at all costs. Well, I found it on the subreddit. And there we go. I passed the test. So I'll just quickly go up here. There we go. So for some reason, I've had this happen a couple of times. The D-pad gets mapped backwards. It's not happened every time. So I don't really know what's happened there. But like I said, this is completely new to me. It might just be it happens occasionally. We'll see. I've got the game running for you. I'll let you figure out the details. We'll go normal. Auto save, file A. So this is as far as I got before I decided to start recording. So I'll be sure to go back and make sure I read all this. I promise. So I will say, when I was downloading this, the file was around 1.6 gig, I think, which is pretty hefty for something that does look like a Game Boy game. But looking at the quality of it, these fan games seem to be on another level. So I've played some ROM hacks, but I've not actually played a fully fledged, from the ground up fan game. So, oh, so the D-pad works now. So it only seems to be in that initial character setup menu that it doesn't quite work. So I'm going to leave it there for now. So please let me know in the comments if this worked for you. I'd appreciate a like and subscribe. Also, just on a note, so I've recently passed 2,000 subscribers, and I'd like to start making these videos as good as I can and making the quality of them even better. One thing I've had some commentary about, and I'm happy to take any criticism and feedback, is audio quality. So I've played around with some EQs and some mic positioning. I'm a complete amateur when it comes to this stuff, so if anybody's got any feedback with regards to audio setups or even things like lighting, if you're an OBS expert, please feel free to drop some feedback. I've got a thick skin, I can take it, don't worry about it. But if this video helped you out, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you next time.